Live from beautiful downtown Orlando, coming to you straight from the Legal Aid Society of the Orange County Bar Association headquarters. This is the 13th annual Breakfast of Champions.
Good morning, I'm Stuart Moore from West 2 News, and it is my pleasure to serve as the master and host of ceremonies for the 13th annual Breakfast of Champions benefiting the Legal Aid Society of the Orange County Bar Association. Now, I have been a proud member of the Central Florida community since 2011 when I first joined West 2 News, and this morning I am here to share news about Legal Aid Society's unbelievable contribution to our community's most vulnerable citizens and to renew our community's support of this incredible organization. 2020 is a year many of us are not likely to forget. Health crisis, obviously, housing crisis, economic crisis on top of that, and a local election or two that we also maybe have just wrapped up. This year introduced an element of stress that many of us have never experienced quite before. Our very own Legal Aid Society thrives off of resolving these life-threatening issues for low-income residents, the working poor, children, of course, and disadvantaged groups with special legal needs here in Orange County, Florida. This year alone, Legal Aid prevented wrongful evictions, empowered survivors of domestic violence, created forever families as well for deserving foster children, ending the crushing effects of predatory lending practices for senior citizens, and gave vital assistance to veterans and so many more people. And they do this every single day of the year. Legal Aid has been here before, and with your support, Legal Aid will be here and continue to serve our community. Joining us this morning is Christopher Kress, the president of the Legal Aid Society Board of Trustees. Christopher, good morning.
Thank you, Stuart. The Legal Aid Society Board of Trustees is incredibly grateful to all of you for joining us at our first ever virtual Breakfast of Champions. Thanks to you, we have record-breaking attendance at this year's event. Serving as president of the Board of Trustees is one of the greatest honors of my career. As board president, I get to see on a daily basis just how impactful legal aid is, not only for our poorest residents, but also our court system, our public servants, and all the attorneys that practice in Orange County. This year, it should come as no surprise to learn that the need for legal aid services is up. Believe it or not, one of your neighbors may be a legal aid client right now, especially if they are a veteran or they are elderly. It's up to each of us to give now to support our neighbors. Please take a moment and make your donation to the Legal Aid Society. You will find the donation link in the Zoom chat box. Whether you're an attorney taking pro bono cases, a business owner providing employment opportunities, or you otherwise support the residents of Orange County, we are asking for your donations this morning. Rest assured, the Legal Aid Society will immediately and carefully put your donations to use, providing life-changing legal services for our most vulnerable citizens. It is now my great pleasure to introduce the new and amazing Executive Director of the Legal Aid Society, Bethany Barber. Bethany is going to tell you a little bit about the extraordinary work that the Legal Aid Society has been doing in 2020. Please enjoy this morning's program and take pride in your contributions to such a positively impactful Legal Aid Society. Thank you.
We're here at the Legal Aid Society of the Orange County Bar Association because crisis exists in this community. We see people at their very worst. We get people through their very worst by enabling people to get themselves through it. Our mission has remained the same. When we opened in 1961, when we had a group of attorneys who huddled together at the courthouse to make sure that indigent people had the quality legal services they needed to continue to function, the mission was provide quality legal services for every resident of Orange County, the indigent, the disadvantaged, the poor, and vulnerable groups. That is exactly what we do today. The fact is, we have more people that we do it for today, and the areas in which we provide those services, those very critical services, have expanded. In these days, in these times, so many of our funding sources are understandably facing contraction. We have this combination of volunteer attorneys and support staff But the key is making sure that dollars come through the door to make us function. We run a lean, tight ship. We intentionally find very diverse funding sources so that we can continue to practice the areas of law that the community needs. That means that there are a few areas in which we don't receive funding. We don't receive federal dollars because receiving federal dollars would restrict the type of work we do. We live in a community in which we want to make sure that every person who needs legal services is represented, regardless of their race, their gender, their color, their creed. If you are vulnerable, you live in our community, we can assist you. It is, again, our duty to assist you. It's our privilege to assist you, so we're going to do it. Every single zip code in Orange County now has clientele from the Legal Aid Society. Our numbers have skyrocketed because of the world in which we find ourselves. People don't come to the Legal Aid Society because they're interested in what legal services can be provided. People come to the Legal Aid Society because they need to survive. And they know that the Legal Aid Society is going to be able to provide results that will help them survive. That survival is now on the table for everyone. When you have been a staff attorney and you have the opportunity to sit down face to face with a client who has no hope, has no reason to trust another human being at all based on what they've experienced, they develop a professional relationship with a staff member at the Legal Aid Society or an attorney, and then their lives are changed, then they have the ability to feed themselves and their children, to work, to provide medical care to their needy child, to wake up in the morning and knowing that their child or themselves are not going to be physically abused and that there is a life that they've always wanted to live and they're living it because of that attorney. There is no way in the world that you work for the Legal Aid Society and you don't love it, even those moments of pain, because you know what the positive results for your clients are going to be. That is it. The motivation is knowing that we connect with so many human beings on a visceral and professional level, and that we just save lives. I know it is a very odd thing to say, but legal aid saves lives. And you don't know that that's what you have to gain until you experience it. And then once you experience it, there is no going back from that moment. There's no going back at any point in time ever, which is why I think we have so many legal aid lifers. You do this for life. I was particularly excited about having the opportunity to become the executive director of the Legal Aid Society in particular, because we are one of a kind. We are unique, not just in Florida, but we're unique in the nation. When you have a bar association that says commitment and dedication to the most vulnerable through your profession is mandatory, that is something that is difficult. That is something that is challenging. That is something that other organizations don't do because it is difficult and challenging. But to understand that our bar, our community, the greater community believes in that mission and helps us meet that mission every single day, there is no way in the world there is a better job than the executive director of the Legal Aid Society, because all of the Legal Aid Society and the Orange County Bar Association believes in pushing past challenges and doing what's right for a community, because it's the right thing to do, despite it being hard.
Thank you, Bethany, and thank all of you for supporting legal aid through your financial contribution. As Christopher reminded you, please click on the donation link in the chat box to be sure to donate to legal aid right now. And with your help, we will reach our fundraising goals by the end of this morning. Legal aid does much more with this money than anyone would also think possible. It can fund legal aid's entire housing unit, which provided advice and counsel clinics for hundreds of different Orange County residents facing foreclosure and eviction nonstop, multiple days a week on top of their normal housing practice since July. Thousands of families avoided homelessness thanks to the Legal Aid Society. Your contributions bind you to this community's success. Legal aid can also lend a hand in our neighborhoods because of the generosity of our folks like the Joe and Sarah Galloway Foundation, which graciously stands as our champion sponsor, donating $10,000 to legal aid for good of our community. The Joe and Sarah Galloway Foundation also serves sponsorships and in large part through the one-of-a-kind ongoing support of their sister organization, the Orange County Bar Association. Here to share with us a very special report from the Orange County Bar Association is the OCBA President-elect, Eric Reed.
Thanks, Stuart, and hello, everybody. I am Eric Reed along with my sidekick, Baxter, and we have absolutely no idea what we're doing here today. However, it is our pleasure to bring to you the Legal Aid Society of the Orange County Bar's latest edition of Some Good News. If you are not familiar with SGN, ask your child, someone on Facebook, or anyone that owns a computer. Even though hundreds of us are virtually gathered together today to support the Legal Aid Society, the greatest legal aid on the planet, you might feel alone in this not-so-new COVID-19 world. But there are many ways we can still connect online and enjoy the company of each other. Zoom continues to allow people to embarrass themselves in ways that you couldn't even imagine a year ago. It lets you look directly into a room and see that Nickelback mega fan tour book tucked away on the bookshelf, or that person who forgets their camera is on. And guess what they're sporting? A Gold's Gym muscle shirt. It changes relationship. It really does. If there's one thing that Zoom proves, it's that humans will find a way to make social interaction uncomfortable, even when social interaction isn't even allowed. Think about the people who do not mute. What a gift they are. Speaking of gifts, have you made your gift yet this morning? Do you even know how to make a donation? You have heard a little bit about it earlier, or maybe from Legal Aid's fearless fundraiser, Donna, over the last few months. But let me take a few seconds to break it down for you. Making a donation is quick and easy. Take out your credit card and click on the link in the chat box or in the comments, and you'll be finished making your donation before you know it. And now we bring you some good news, Legal Aid, a breakfast of champions style. Legal Aid does so much more than directly represent clients through staff and pro bono attorney efforts. Our community's mounting immediate needs are housing law due to an enormous number of Orange County residents being evicted and foreclosed. Family law due to an increase in domestic violence since the economic contraction. Consumer law due to an increase in stolen identity and credit fraud cases. Dependency law as kids experience abuse, abandonment, and neglect because of their family's financial instability and social stressors leading to abuse. Immigration law, with human trafficking cases up as predators seek to capitalize on the most vulnerable during times of emergency such as natural disasters or conflict. Legal Aid is able to help more people in these areas because of your financial support. People like Alicia. Alicia and her beautiful family opened their home to 10 foster children over the years. One day they received a call about a 4-pound little boy who was born to a drug addict, removed from his mother and unable to go home with her. Alicia and her family welcomed the little fella who quickly fit into their family and hearts. They decided to become a forever family through adoption, only to hear the phone ring once again. This time it was a little girl, 4 pounds just like her brother, born to the same mom who continued to struggle from substance abuse, this time while incarcerated. Alicia and her family knew they could not turn the sibling away and sprang into action to provide love and care for one more. The process was not simple. It was challenging and confusing. Alicia and her family considered themselves lucky as these children were provided with Legal Aid guardian ad litem attorney Mexie Roberts. Attorney Roberts led them down the path to an even larger forever family, and all lives are enhanced because of the Legal Aid Society. Or take the story of a little boy who entered the dependency system in January 2018, when a major medical disorder nearly killed him. Despite a chronic kidney disease diagnosis, He did not receive prescribed medication, medical care, or the crucial diet needed to live while in his mother's care. Soon his kidneys stopped working altogether. Although doctors determined a kidney transplant was essential, he was removed from the transplant wait list due to permanent medical issues, rapidly declining health, and the surgeon's concerns he would never be able to maintain a healthy regimen. The legal aid guardian ad litem courtroom team worked to place him in the best possible medical foster home. Once secured, legal aid immediately engaged the local hospital treating the little guy to increase medical accessibility. While he made progress under the care of his foster parent and local medical team, the Kidney Surgical Transplant Committee refused to take him off the active transplant list. They thought he was too sick and lacking the critical social support required for transplant success. Instead of accepting the transplant denial, the legal aid guardian ad litem drove to Tampa with the foster parent, presented the surgical committee with the boy's medical history, including improvements, and explained his long-term permanency strategy. Soon after, legal aid received the news that they would be adding his name to the transplant wait list, and he underwent surgery and successfully received a donor kidney. A child is alive today because legal aid refused to give up on him. But that's enough for me. Let's send it back to Stuart in the studio.
Thank you, Eric. That was wonderful just to hear some of those stories and the impact this has all had. Now, some of the most significant support and voices in support of legal aid come from those who were at one point also voiceless. Legal Aid Society former clients. Accomplishments take on new meaning when explained by those who relied on legal aid at one point in time to overcome some issues that, if left unaddressed, would have meant homelessness, continued physical abuse, permanent loss of employment, financial victimization, all with the potential for lifelong debilitation. Now let's take a brief moment to hear directly from a legal aid client named Darnell. Darnell was represented by legal aid staff attorney Jameis Mobley.
My name is Darnell Shelman, and I am here to tell a story which is a meaningful one concerning my landlord. My landlord wanted to put me out, have me evicted from her premises for owing her rent, but I did not owe her any rent. My rent was paid up. So therefore, I went to legal aid for some advice and for some help. Legal aid assisted me in the procedure by going to court along with me, a hearing rather. Because of legal aid help and their assistance, I were able to maintain the premises.
Fortunately, Darnell's story has a happy ending because a legal aid attorney negotiated with the landlord and also kept Darnell inside of his own home. In fact, both Darnell and his landlord ended up happy with the outcome in this case. Legal aid represents tenants to ensure their rights are protected and reduce the number of low-income individuals and families who live in appalling conditions and face injustices at the hands of a few bad landlords in Orange County. Your continued support allows legal aid, the attorneys, and staff to have a direct positive impact on the quality of our clients' lives. On behalf of more than 700 housing clients who have asked for legal aid support this year alone, thank you for your help. When just one of us benefits from legal aid, our entire community benefits from legal aid. Darnell's story is so much like many others have also experienced in our community, especially this year with the pandemic that's put many people into situations where they could be facing eviction. And legal aid is always there to lend a hand. Legal aid can lend a hand in our neighborhoods because of the generosity of our gold sponsors, who each generously donated $5,000 to legal aid for the good of the community. Thank you to these sponsors for their generosity. You are true legal aid champions who encourage the rest of us to donate this morning by using that link that's located right there in your chat box. Now, as we think about this year and this past year, of course, COVID-19 has affected so many parts of our community and our daily lives, especially legal aid's public funding sources with a great intensification in the need for assistance. So what does this all mean? That means our community's requests for services continue to increase in every legal service area that the Legal Aid Society provides. What legal aid needs now more than ever are attorneys to perform legal work, teach our volunteer attorneys how to perform emergency pro bono cases, and also advocate for changes to state laws to make them more effective for our clients. Please take a moment now and make your donation. while we hear from another legal aid client named Mary, who represented by legal aid attorney Amy Goodblatt. Mary's situation is not uncommon whatsoever. Many senior citizens stand in the shoes of a parent to raise their grandchildren and other relatives that are under the age of 18. They often need a quick court order to allow them to seek medical treatment for a child, enroll them in school, and make other daily decisions.
Hi, my name's Mary and I have a story to tell. My great niece came to us through her parents who said they could no longer take care of her, their addiction to drugs and alcohol, and they asked us to take over and raise her. So we have done that. She was very thin, and we got her help through the WIC program. With the help of legal aid, we were able to get her in school and have the full custody and not have to worry about any jumping through hoops. The help of legal aid has made things a lot easier for us. She's very healthy. She is loving school, and she's growing. And without the help of legal aid, we wouldn't be here.
Without legal aid, Mary would never have had the opportunity to help her great niece thrive, meeting the development milestones Mary knew that she could. Legal aid cleared the legal path to essential educational and family services. Now, these positive client results are now very common in our Legal Aid Society cases because of the generous financial support of everyone donating this morning, as well as our silver, bronze, and copper sponsors. Thank you, and now we would like to honor our sponsors as they make the tremendous work of the Legal Aid Society possible. So why is legal aid important to these sponsors? Why is legal aid important to you? Is it because it's the essential part of this democratic system? Do you believe that justice works best when it works for everyone, or when you realize that legal aid is essential to our community in these most critical of times? Times like during the past Pulse tragedy and now the COVID-19 pandemic. Maybe you feel proud knowing that you support an organization that people turn to for the best solution when they are experiencing the worst of their lives. Or is it that you believe that everyone should have access to justice, including those who are survivors of domestic violence and human trafficking? Or maybe you strive to end social and economic discrimination because you believe that everyone deserves the opportunity to live their full potential. In the end, legal aid saves our community by saving us money through prevention of larger legal and financial problems. This also helps our local economy, and legal aid simply makes our hometown a better place to be. Over the years, support of the Legal Aid Society has grown beyond the legal community and into the business community. This is in large part because Central Florida's professional community knows that supporting the Legal Aid Society actually brings peace of mind through economic and physical stability for employees and their families. Those families are like Melissa's family. Let's take a moment and hear from her now.
I received a phone call that my twin niece and nephew, they're my great niece and nephew, and that their mother, which is my niece, was arrested for abuse. I took my niece and nephew with me to my home, and that's where they've been ever since. The day that I met Miss Ronnie, she's a God-sent angel. She made this whole thing so easy for the whole entire family. But she came into our lives. She was so, I really can't even explain all what she's done for my husband and myself and our entire family. But she also, I mean, it was like anything. I could call her for anything, even if it had nothing to do with court or even legal. I mean, at the time, I was not getting any funds for my niece and nephew, and she took care of that. They have gone on to graduate from high school. Of course, because of COVID, I didn't see them walk across the stage, but they did graduate with one with a 4.0 grade point average, one with a 3.7 grade point average. The young lady is at University of North Florida in Jacksonville. The young man is at University of West Florida in Pensacola. So that's all thanks to Legal Aid Services and Ronnie.
If it wasn't for legal aid, Melissa would not have been able to get the support for her great niece and great nephew. Those children were able to face their abuser in criminal court, live in a safe, stable home, and concentrate on normalized teenage activities like graduating from high school and beginning in college. Through the support of Melissa legal aid attorneys, they now know that their experience did not define their lives. In the GAL program, legal aid represents almost 1,600 abused, abandoned, and neglected children each and every year. Every child has their own challenges, but more importantly, every child has their own hopes and their own dreams. Legal aid empowers them to reach those dreams, and legal aid also empowers the community through legal education, all the while remaining an experienced and engaged presence in the community to strengthen the positive image of attorneys. Speaking of positive images of attorneys, Eric Reed, do you have any more good news for us?
Hi, Eric Reed here again, and I still have absolutely no idea what I'm doing here today, but maybe Baxter will show me the ropes. Where does the Zoom joy end, you may ask? As you ponder this question, let me remind you some of the benefits of having a virtual Breakfast of Champions. Number one, you didn't have to get up at 5:30 in the morning, getting through traffic, trying to find a parking spot to get into the Amway Center by 7 a.m. Number two, you didn't have to wait in the coffee station line, terrified that Judge Egan was going to take the last cup of coffee. Number three, you didn't have to zone out for 45 seconds wondering, why is the vegetable egg frittata pink? Number four, you didn't have to strap on compression socks to fight off the popsicle toe effect from the icy Amway floor. And heck, number five, you could probably take a cat nap like Baxter today. Now let's get back to some good news. Legal Aid Society Breakfast of Champions style. Here's Ad Alberto's story. Having never been arrested before 2005, Ad Alberto was arrested when an abusive partner made a false police report. Because of the criminal charges, Ad Alberto was refused jobs. Every time he filled out an application, he had to explain the whole situation and missed opportunities. All he wanted to do was be a flight attendant. That's when Legal Aid sprang into action. If you ask Ad Alberto, he'll tell you that when the legal aid attorneys helped him, they treated him with respect and walked beside him until all the charges were removed from his record. His partner was ultimately charged with filing a false police report, and today Ad Alberto is in a happy, safe relationship with Marcus, someone that loves and respects him. Or take Elvira Santos Rios' story, for instance. She was born in Mexico, where both of her parents were murdered by gangs. Elvira fled to the United States and found work in downtown Orlando cleaning office buildings. One night, 5 men broke in, beat her boyfriend, and took turns beating and raping her. Elvira was bound because the criminals planned to take her with them. Lucky for her, a noise scared them and they fled. The police were called, and Elvira had to decide whether to help the authorities in identifying the offenders. Scared beyond belief, Elvira cooperated with the investigation and prosecution of these crimes, as she did not want any other person to experience what she endured. Elvira's testimony resulted in the apprehension, jailing, and deportation of 2 of the men after their sentences were served. Why is this good news, you ask? Well, because of her cooperation, Elvira was able to apply for a U visa and did so with the help of legal aid attorney Matthew Farr and Anna Burnell Roberts. Attorney Farr helped Elvira with her legal permanent residence, and Attorney Roberts helped Elvira prepare for her citizenship interview. Elvira is currently married to a pastor and assists him with church events. She has a beloved family and is loved in her church. Elvira enjoys sharing her story to show what she overcame and to make a positive difference in the lives of others. Elvira is now a proud U.S. citizen, making a positive difference in others' lives as she shares her story about her experience. I know what you're thinking. I am very handsome, and that gray hair just makes me youthful and yet dignified. A less likely but still plausible option, you're thinking, what can I do to help others during this time of unmatched need? Well, have you donated yet? Isn't access to justice something that we all deserve? Or is it only for those who can afford an attorney? The clients that come to the Legal Aid Society are good, contributing members of our community. They are prideful and do not want to ask for help, but they have nowhere to turn. They did not get to pick their parents, the zip codes where they live, or how others view them. But we do get to pick how we respond to inequality in the world. We get to step up right now. Legal Aid has fought injustice since 1961, and they are still in this fight today. It is up to each of us to make a donation right now. Hey, if your firm or employee donated, bravo and congratulations. Hey, now rip out your own credit card, give it a whirl, join me. My firm donates, I donate, now you donate. I am a proud member of the Orange County Bar Association, in part because of our legal community's underlying commitment to providing quality legal services to every one of our neighbors. The Legal Aid Society is our official charity. Consider making a monthly donation, consider donating over several years, or consider making a donation that maybe is just half of what you spend at Starbucks. Hey, Tony Sosa, I'm looking at you. Please use that donation link in the chat box to provide what we all know is deserving financial support for the Legal Aid Society. Whatever you can donate will change lives. Yours too, because helping others feels great. This is Eric and Baxter Reed with some good news. Breakfast of Champions edition signing off. And remember, no matter how hard things get out there, there will always be some good in the world.
No one was exposed to COVID-19, and no animals were injured during the filming of SGN. Eric's children were not willing participants in this segment and do not endorse his sense of humor.
Well, everyone, I certainly enjoyed sharing my morning with you to highlight the unbelievable accomplishments that our Legal Aid Society provides for us all. We understand the privileges that come with living and working here in Central Florida. Beautiful weather, unmatched entertainment for every member of your family, world-class cuisine, born out of our multiculturalism, and a healthy appreciation for fall football Saturdays. Go Noles, always need to mention that. It is also a privilege to know that with your help, the Legal Aid Society's doors remain open to ensure access and justice for all. Your support, shown through your financial contribution this morning, will continue to make Central Florida a place that we proudly all call home. On behalf of the Legal Aid Society, the Orange County Bar Association, and the Board of Trustees, I'm Stuart Moore, wishing you the very best as we enter Thanksgiving and the holiday seasons, and have a wonderful New Year as well. Thank you.